Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next interview. I'm excited about our guest today, not only because I've known Ellen for some years now, and it's always exciting when I get an opportunity to not only chat with Ellen, but just catch up on all the great work that she's been doing in the world in general, and obviously in our vegan community. So it's really exciting to get that opportunity. But we also have a special guest. We have Troy Funk, and you guys are going to get really excited about the great work that not only Troy has been doing, but how Troy and Ellen have joined forces together as all of us have been, re-looking at our businesses, re-looking at what we've been doing in 2020. I think Ellen and Troy have such a amazing story about how they've been working together, collaborating together, being amazing vegans together. And I'll hold off on some of the other pieces because I think Ellen's going to introduce us to it. Because if you guys know about her amazing books, you know some of those books titles. So we're going to dive into everything we can while we have Ellen and Troy here with us today. So first, let me say welcome, Ellen. Welcome, Troy.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for having us.
So before we dive into all the details, I think a lot of our audience loves to just know and see all of the amazing vegans that are out there in the world, the diversity that we bring to the world. So it's great to kind of hear a little bit from just each of you, how long you've been vegan. And if there's anything you want to share a little bit about your backstory or how you guys have come together as this amazing vegan powerhouse.
So I've been vegan for the better part of 40 years with some serious interruptions when I had children and doctors who said, oh, you're going to cause brain damage if you don't drink whey protein while you're pregnant. We now know, of course, those kinds of things are just totally off the wall and not founded in science at all. But I almost died of a colon blockage when I was 28. That was my first venture into it. And then came back to it again when I was working at Smith Barney as a financial consultant and had hemorrhaging fibroid tumors. They wanted to do a hysterectomy. The doctors did. And then I had another doctor who said, go back to that vegan diet and call me in the morning. And within 3 weeks, all signs of menopause and the hysterectomy didn't need to happen. So that was really the beginning and of my writing. I wrote Eat Vegan on $4 a Day. That was my first book, and started traveling the country on book tour, which is where we met and have had wonderful memories. This week actually was supposed to be Vegan Summerfest, one of the largest vegan events in the country. And with COVID, that's all been canceled. So we've had to, Troy and I had connected actually October 19th, officially. And we had met, we'd known each other over the years. He'd actually come to the Portland Vegfest. I'll let him tell that story, looking for answers for health issues. And he had meetups at his house, and I would go off and on. And I think I'll let you pick up the story from there, because that's kind of where it gets really interesting and fun.
Okay, Troy.
Well, yeah, I became vegan about 5 years ago, really in a quest to just look for answers. I was married at the time, and my wife had Lyme's disease, and she was very sick. And my son has called EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and he's very sick. And so I went to the conference, the EDS conference, and one of the things they talked about was becoming vegetarian. And I said I couldn't do it. And this was about 10 years ago. I just can't do it. I can't do it without support. So as time came on, meetups became more prevalent, where you could go into a vegan meetup and you could start finding support groups. So I decided to become vegan, and I plugged into the community as much as I could to become vegan. So I went to different meetups, and in that process, I thought, well, I can do a better meetup. The challenge with these meetups is we're going to restaurants and we're not collaborating. So I created my own meetup called Vegan Potluck Celebration, where I had people come to my house. They bring vegan food. We'd have a campfire. There'd be music. And the idea is just to collaborate with the idea that we're all vegan. What's our best practices? So I've been on a learning journey to become a better vegan. And of course, as soon as I did that, I heard about this lady right off the bat. Someone, and she was a celebrity in our town that had written many books. And I admired her right from the onslaught of my quest to become vegan. But I don't think we actually spoke until we were in Portland to say, hi, Ellen, I'm Troy from Sarasota. I know you live on Anna Maria, and I'm just a vegan, and I'm here at this Veg Fest, and I celebrate everything that you're doing for our community. So
Yeah, I love it when that happens. You know what I mean? When you get that final connection or those like final kind of pieces of the puzzle come together. So even though you were in similar areas, similar location, you know what I mean? Like you said, we all see Ellen as one of our celebrities here in the vegan community. Yes, yes, yes. But it's really exciting when you get a chance not only to meet just amazing people like Ellen, but I really love that story that you met in Portland, even though you were really kind of close together. So I guess bring me to current. Now that you guys met each other, Troy, you were on that quest to get that information. Walk me through where are you today? Where are you guys, and how are you guys working together and supporting each other today?
Yeah, that's a long story. So I'll try to shorten that up. So basically, I've had meetups in Sarasota. I've had the vegan potluck celebration meetup. I started a vegan page that I attempted to start, and I was selling T-shirts. And one of the things that I loved the most was I volunteered at the farmers market. There was a booth called Organics where they grew. The owners were vegan. They created organic drinks, and so I volunteered just to be there on a Saturday just to connect with them and help them sell their products. But I'm one of my claim to fame is I'm the wheatgrass juicer. So I was the one that was selling the wheatgrass to people coming in. But anyway,
were you growing the wheatgrass yourself?
What's that?
Were you growing the wheatgrass yourself?
No. I'd juice it. We'd sell it for $2 an ounce, but I would be at farmers market every Saturday giving out wheatgrass or selling wheatgrass, and so it was something that I look forward to, but it was a commitment to be vegan, for looking for a healthier life. So I've known Ellen, and she started coming to my meetups, which was really fun. And when she would come, I would get all excited, and I would say, at one point we had 40 people in my backyard, and I said, everyone, we have a special guest here today, and if you don't mind, Ellen, I'd like you to speak a little bit about your vegan lifestyle, and tell us a little bit about yourself. So when she would come to my space, I would celebrate her and what she's doing, and to kind of bring our vegan community a little bit closer together.
And I always thought when he would do that how cool it was that somebody would say all the nice things he would in the introduction, and even feel those things. And I kept thinking, there's really nobody in my personal life who has said any of those things. So there was this one meetup back in August, and so I said to Troy, like, if you know anybody who's available and vegan, please send them my way. So we had a discussion about a couple of possibilities, and then nothing happened for 2 weeks. And finally I messaged him on Facebook and said, so how's my favorite matchmaker? And he goes, well, as a matter of fact, my girlfriend broke up with me. Would you like to just go grab dinner as friends? So that lasted about 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I resisted. I mean, I've been married or in a relationship since I was in my 20s. And I told Ellen, I said, I'm not going into another relationship. Just so you know, we're going to only be friends. And I kept trying to resist that as long as I possibly could, and finally, I give up. This isn't working.
He said he wanted to move to California, be a monk.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into another relationship. I got through a divorce, and I'm just, this is. I just need to be alone for a while.
And the same for me. I mean, I've had a checkered past as well, and the last thing I wanted to do was go in this direction. I was kind of enjoying my freedom. And then I was living in this apartment complex, and this whole COVID thing started happening. They shut down all the public facilities. We're living pretty close together. And it kind of sounded like, well, maybe the police will come if there's something that really breaks out or not. And so we made the decision at that time that I would move in. And, I was a little scared that it was too much too soon. I think we both were. But in the process, I got my real estate license. Well, this was before that. And then we started studying for it. And then when I got my license, it just seemed to make sense that I would join his brokerage. And Troy's been in the real estate business here in Sarasota for 36 years almost now.
Something like that,
Yeah.
35.
So it's like to have somebody like this as a mentor. With my social media presence and getting more to the business part of this, I had offers from every real estate brokerage in town because, you know, they Google you and they go, oh my gosh, she has so many connections. And so as I talked to more people, though, it wasn't so much the firm that you go to, it's the kind of fast track education that you get with a mentor, not only through Troy, but other people at our company, Realty One, which is the fastest growing real estate business of its kind. And it's, you know, they do the 100% platform. So, you know, you're not giving your commission to like 30% of it to another broker.
Yeah.
So it's a real interesting, and Troy can talk more about how that works if you want to hear about that. But
well, what ties it in with what you do is technology. I mean, we're really a technology company, and Ellen's really been plugged in as an author and written all these books and doing the events like what we're doing now. I mean, really plugged into the technology piece of it. So I think what's interesting about COVID is I think it's brought a lot of people more together with Zoom and saying, look, I'm looking for information. And that gets back to the point where there was a point that I wouldn't go vegan or vegetarian because I didn't have resources. And now that's no longer an excuse. You know, thanks to you, Stephanie, and your education and your support and things that are available, we can actually go online and we can start to create relationships and community to help support our quest, because it's hard to go vegan stag. You really need a support system of some sort to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, support systems really can make a difference in not only your speed of making that transition, but also, you know, staying there and really thriving there. So it really makes a difference. And then also having someone like Ellen in your corner as your support system is amazing. And what I really like about your story is we're talking about support on both sides. We're talking about Ellen supporting from a vegan standpoint, and then Ellen's work with, you know, from transitioning over to real estate, you're supporting her from a mentoring standpoint in real estate. So I really enjoy this kind of dynamic in your relationship where there's really support on both sides. I think that kind of builds some great connections and obviously some lasting, opportunities. So one thing I just wanted to make sure I unpacked. Are you saying that you guys were not together really until COVID started? So with COVID, that really brought the relationship together? Is that fair to say, or did I misunderstand?
No, we got together pretty quick.
That's pretty cool.
we make the decision to move for me to move to his place. Yeah, because it just didn't seem like it was going to be a real safe place to be where I was.
Okay.
Well,
the reason I bring that up is, you know, when people think about COVID, all the headlines are so gloom and doom. All the headlines are about all the bad things that are happening. And I don't want to, you know, play light of the things that are happening, because there are some really tough things that are happening to people out there in the world. But I also love to highlight stories like yours where COVID brings people together, where COVID creates a kind of path where you guys made a decision on, you know, should we come together, should we live together, and how that creates kind of a little bit of happiness in the world. So I really think it's important to highlight that happiness, because I think sometimes we think everything in 2020 has been canceled, and that's not the case.
Well, it certainly does feel that way. At least, you know, one of the other amazing things that we found out is that we're both runners and racers. And we actually figured out fairly recently that we had run the same half marathon about 4 years ago, because there was a woman at mile 10 who passed out strawberries.
But she was so much faster than me that she would never see me. She was so far in the lead.
But it's just so wonderful to have a partner who is a runner, because all of the races have been canceled. I just got a really depressing email from the president of our local running club this morning saying, you know, we just don't know when, if ever, races are coming back because of the state of things. And so, you know, I had placed in 199 5K or longer races for my age group since 2006, just on plans, as I like to say. And I was just on the verge of getting to 200 when all of this came crashing down, but got a gold medal at the National Senior Games last year.
Oh, you know, congratulations. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. And, you know, so we go running most mornings together, and to have that in our own neighborhood, which is really all we can do at this point. I'm not sure, it's so easy to give up running. We'll wake up in the morning and I go, "Are we running today?" And he goes, "Oh,
I don't want to, but I will."
And it works in reverse too. So inspiring each other, I think, has just been a great story, as you say.
Absolutely. I definitely think it is. We just got a comment where someone says, support really helps greatly. For some reason, it's not bringing in the username, but I just wanted to recognize, I think it's Georgia, that's actually making that comment there. Let's talk about the business side of things. Let's talk about how has the world changed from you in two parts. Let's talk about real estate, but also, Ellen, let's talk about what you've been doing, or let's talk about book sales. I mean, being an author of, it's 4 books, right?
6.
6. Oh my goodness, 6 books. A lot of people think about what are they going to do in 2020, what's going to happen in 2020. And I think the fact that you have a little bit of some diverse options at your fingertips, you have books that are continuing to sell, even though you aren't able to do the interviews, maybe talk about kind of, what life is like for you from your entrepreneurial hat on. And then also talk a little bit about real estate in general, because when we think about real estate, we think about getting together, we think about going into houses. And with COVID, everyone's a little bit more hesitant in that. And I know a lot of people in the real estate industry have been pivoting, doing things differently in real estate. So maybe we can talk about what some of those differences are and how you've been using your social media presence and so forth to help bridge that gap.
Well, certainly Facebook and Instagram, all social media platforms, YouTube. I've been just trying to do as much as I can, and just stay active and respond to comments and post and share and do all the things that we were already doing. But because it seems like more people are online now, just to really stay front and center as best I can. On the other hand, we are enjoying our life together. So I've actually unplugged a bit from social media just so we can take our sunset walks along the beach and, social distancing, of course, but doing the things that are important, because I think this whole thing has made us realize what is important. And everybody has a different definition of that. But as far as the books go, I mentioned the first one, Eat Vegan on $4 a Day, then Kitchen Divided. Paleo Vegan, that's actually still selling like crazy. It was translated into German, by the way.
Nice.
It's still very well in Germany. And then Vegan Fitness for Mortals, that's sort of my whole athletic foray. And then Vegan Sex was number 5. And if that didn't work out, Vegan for One is the last book. So, I was lucky to co-author with Joel Kahn, who's a cardiologist, and his books are doing very well. He's gotten lots of, he's in different vegan movies, that kind of thing. So he's really been a force to help, sell. We've done, we did that one book together, and then we shared our recipe developer in 2 of the different books we did. So just being out there and, answering questions on the different pages, and people tag me a lot in different threads, and I try and jump in and respond that way. All the Vegfest, of course, were canceled, which just broke my heart. Troy had been approved by my publisher to actually travel with me this entire next year.
That would have been great.
To help sell books, yeah. And all of that, we were going to go to Seattle. That was the first city that went down. And, some of them did virtual Vegfest, but that's kind of stopped now because, there's really no money in that. When you've got the vendors, they're not getting the exposure online that they would have gotten in person. So it's just challenging trying to support the different pages in whatever way I can in terms of the book sales. And maybe you want to answer the real estate component. Just to say, we're all doing virtual showings and doing as much as we can online. We have some very sophisticated contact management systems. When you go online and look at houses, they all have this speed to lead kind of program where different real estate brokerages and individuals can plug into it. But maybe you want to talk more about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because our market actually has done better with this COVID. We're in a really beautiful place in Florida and on the West Coast. What's that?
You're trying to focus.
The pictures in the background are actually our backyard. Literally, if you could throw far enough, you'd hear the kaplunk in the water. I mean, we are very close. We're in an absolutely beautiful place in the world. So what's interesting with COVID is a lot of people are reanalyzing their lives, saying, I don't want to live where I'm living. I want to live somewhere else. And so since we're a place of destination, we're actually doing really well. Our inventory is at an all-time low right now, and we have an abundance of people coming in. So in some areas, we're seeing a lot of appreciation right now in different parts of our area. So real estate wise, we're good.
That's good.
As strange as it is, even though it's an awkward environment. Yeah.
And the kinds of things we're seeing, like people are searching for vacant land where they can set up a business. That's
Right.
one of the things
Right.
that I see a lot of. Or people, especially from the Northeast, they want to clear out of the cold and the COVID. Those are the two main things that they cite as, just sell me anything reasonably close to the water. And so it's been real interesting to see that kind of pivot, the way people are reevaluating their lives.
And I think that's the interesting thing about how much people are reevaluating their lives. I read this one article where someone said, I can work anywhere. Why do I live here? And the idea is, why don't we live in areas that we absolutely love? And, myself being in Florida as well, I love the sunshine as well. I'm in Central Florida, so I don't get to see those. I just get to see your pictures. I don't get to see that in my backyard.
Come on over.
Definitely. Actually, I think I'll be coming to visit after COVID for sure. And I hope I get one of those invites to the meetups when you get those going again. We did have a quick comment that came in from Cody. She was just talking about how great it is to kind of see a couple and talk about the support system. She had mentioned that she was on her own for the first 2 years when she was transitioning and how hard it was. And now with her hubby and her kids on board and being involved in the community, she feels so supported. So she just posted that, and I thought we'd share that as well with you.
That's great. And, for me, I never had a vegan partner until Troy. And so it's been such an eye-opening experience. I mean, every time I make a meal, he goes, are you sure you really like cooking? I go like, I wrote 6 cookbooks, dear. This is just so amazing that you actually like my cooking.
And that's the thing. It's really interesting. I mean, with my husband, when we got together, he wasn't vegan, and then he made the commitment for me. But what's so much fun now is when we go shopping, he's finding things on the shelves. Because I'm going in like tactical. I'm like, I'm getting this, I'm getting this, I'm getting this. Well, when we used to do a lot of grocery shopping. And he would explore and be like, hey, there's this new vegan cookie dough. Hey, there's this new this and that. And it's really fun when you do have if you're lucky enough to have a vegan partner, it really can make a difference because you get to share in not just the cooking, but the exploration and the fun of all the great products that are coming out.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about what's next. What's next for you guys for the rest of 2020? Do you have any big plans? Do you have anything that you're thinking about how you want your, the second half of 2020 to be? I think for a lot of people, we've gone through the shock of everything that's happened this year. So what I've been talking with a lot of people about is now that we know this may be a difficult year, that this is not going to just go away. A lot of us are talking about, what do we want our 2020 to be like? What do we want to remember 2020 by? Not just the things that happened to us, but maybe some of the great things that we either are planning to do, great things we're doing, either personal development or anything like that. So I don't know if there's anything you have to share or anything you've been thinking about as far as your second half 2020 goals.
Well, for me, it's just to knock the cover off the ball and support Troy as much as I can in his dream to really just be, I don't want to say selling this place because it sells itself, but to help people find their dream homes in a dream location. We live about 2 minutes from the water. And so after work, we will just hop on over either to the bay or hop in the car for like a 10-minute drive to get to the Gulf. And the most heavenly thing in the world is just being able to jump in the water, float on our backs, and then we take a walk and watch sunset. And we both have said during these times where, we had plans to travel all over the country this year. And we both recognize that there's no other place that we want to be or live at this point. So I think just helping to continue the business thriving and to match people up with their perfect connections. That's my personal goal. And to still contribute to helping vegans find each other and connect with each other in ways that maybe we can't physically do it, but certainly we'd love to grow the vegan community in Sarasota, which thanks to Troy and all of his efforts here was already wonderful and thriving, and lots of people who were committed to the cause. So that's it for me.
Yeah, no, I value that greatly. I mean, we are fortunate to be in an area where a lot of people want to live. So I think our need is to be right here, right now. Ideally, I was a hostel hopper. I'd like to go to hostels and travel California and see all the different things. And that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. And then I think, well, if I live somewhere else, I don't know where else I'd want to live. This is certainly a beautiful place, and we have a lot of people coming into our area. So there's a need for us to be here right now and serve those that want that.
Perfect. Now, I've gotten a lot of comments about the relationship. Everyone's really fired up and excited about the relationship. We've had a comment about relationship goals. So I don't know, as we're kind of wrapping up our session today, if you have any advice for anyone out there that is either, especially in this environment where a lot of us are together, maybe together with people for a more extended period of time than we've ever been before. So we're working on those relationships or building relationships or repairing relationships. Do you guys have any recommendations for anyone out there as far as, building and creating a lasting and wonderful relationship?
Well, if people are looking for the how-tos part of it, I recommend Veg Love. That's Karen Charbonneau's site. She's been trying to do vegan matchmaking and all that forever in different ways. She's just kind of reinvents herself from time to time and has different things going on, and has really, I think, adapted well to the need for people to connect online. And so I've been on her page and have been very impressed by what she does. She also interviewed us too.
And she's great. I mean, she's a really good friend of mine. And, I love it when she got coined Vegan Cupid. I was like, oh, go girl. That's so I just love her. So I'm glad you mentioned her.
Exactly right. And, but just, for me, it was like just kind of letting it go and not being so, even though I asked Troy for some referrals, it was just kind of this offhand, like, if you know anybody, great. If not, I'll be a spinster all my life. I'm good with that. And, just more time I can throw myself into my work, which, is one of the things that so many of us do, just to kind of avoid being in a relationship or sometimes the problems of a relationship. So I guess the only thing is just to kind of let it flow naturally. I mean, we met because of our common interest, and being vegan, it was something I always wanted to have in a partner, and just, kept writing books, like Kitchen Divided was when I was with somebody who wasn't, and I just kept trying new things, new recipes, and that work in there. I mean, a lot of people do live with non-vegan partners, and I get how, some people can manage it fine. But for me, the more I got involved in the movement, it's like, it's just exhausting. And to find somebody who's self-taught, just so lucky, very lucky.
They took the initiative and so forth. That's really amazing, and it's great to hear. And Troy, it's a good inspiration, I think, even story for people to hear when you're self-taught and you take that initiative to find and seek out the answers. That's the other thing that I thought was great about your story as well. So
yeah, friends first. I think that's the big key for me. Obviously, a lot of people want a relationship, but it's funny. My mom has this thing that says, "Do you want to be alone or be with somebody and wish you were alone?" The idea that make sure that who you're with is somebody that you like first. I think that's the most important thing for foundation-wise.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good advice, because I think people forget that. They get caught in the glitz and the glamour and the fun, it sounds like, of a relationship. But you really do need some of those like baseline foundation things that either you have in common, that friendship piece where you have that respect, you know what I mean, that when you want to be in each other's corner, help each other, pick each other up. So I think that stuff is just great.
And I must say, Troy, even though he started out saying we were going to be just friends, he started taking me to these rooftop restaurants where we would go to get a drink or something. We went to the Ritz one time and didn't order anything. We just kind of sat there. So I would suggest, we probably wouldn't do that now, but going to places where you can social distance and still feel like you have a relationship in process. Because I think it's easy to stay at home and just kind of get kind of stuck and depressed, and remembering, if nothing else, remembering the good times, of course. But yeah, he was quite the master of going to all these places, and I'm going like to myself, are we just friends? I mean, do you take a friend to these kinds of places? But I didn't say a word. I just, kind of let it unfold and see where it went. Just not have an agenda, I think.
I think that's really great. There's a quick question. Did you find it made your relationship stronger by being friends at first?
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And I think that's been a challenge for me because it's, I've gone online, I've been in relationships that way in the past. And I don't know, this is different. This is a different situation where we were friends for years before we became more than friends.
Yeah, there was such a feeling of admiration on my part for what he had done in the business community, and certainly what he had done in the vegan universe here. It's like, wow, just what a cool person. And I mean, I had that feeling every time I would go to one of these meetups, like, our community really thrives and needs somebody like that who can pull it all together. And he was certainly doing that. And, to be a part of his life, it's like, wow. I mean, I wake up every morning, it's like, oh, this is just so
dull.
cool. It's always an adventure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, that is so wonderful. I think our audience has really enjoyed not just hearing about what you're doing, not just hearing about your backstory, but also hearing about your relationship. I hope I didn't put you too much on the spot as we dug into that a little bit, but I think it's a really inspirational story.
One thing I just want to add before we close, Stephanie, is I have heard from some people who are almost, I don't know I guess for no lack of a better word, just angry that they feel like I've abandoned my vegan book roots or my vegan message to do real estate. And I think it's just so important to understand that we are all doing the very best we can. I mean, I was never, as I think making a whole lot of money on a book tour. Most of us were in it for love, unless we were a doctor or a dietitian and had some kind of practice. My publisher always said, your books are your calling card. Never expect to make money at it. So at this point, that was 2011 when I started, and it just seemed like a good time to really plug into something that might actually make some money. And I hope people understand that many of us are forced with these kinds of decisions now as to how we move forward.
Absolutely. And I think we all have to make some of those decisions. And I think as a community, we should support each other. We should support each other through these, because as we get to know each other over years, we're all going to kind of walk different journeys, different paths, and so forth. And I think the idea is that we're supposed to support each other. And also, this path and journey that you're on has not only blossomed into an amazing relationship, it allows you to introduce, network, get to know people. The more, even as I coach people myself on running businesses, how important it is to become financially sound so you can do more of your passion projects. I really think that I hope, as you said, people that are watching, people that are listening, they understand that dynamic and understand by you making some of these choices, it even potentially enables you to do more in the future.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Well said.
Anything else, Troy, that you want to share? Anything that we missed today?
No, thank you, Stephanie, for bringing this information out there. Again, awareness is a lot. And I look backwards and I wish this had been more prevalent back when I first started seeking the journey to become vegan.
Perfect. Well, let's hope someone out there maybe is listening and heard your story and it helped them as well. I'm sure you're inspiring them as people are listening to these sessions. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. I know I was all over the map today, but It's just so much fun. We have more of a dynamic, I think, discussion. And I think our comments actually show that people really appreciated it. So thank you once again for joining me. Thank you, everyone who watched us live. If you are watching this as a replay, always post your questions. We will respond to them as well, or even pass them over to Troy and Ellen. And if you're listening to this on our podcast, you can either post questions if you're on our site. Otherwise, you can always shoot us an email and we'll make sure you are taken care of. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Ellen and Troy. And we're going to sign off now.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.